You know, some people enjoy composing their own music, chord by chord, and others are happiest when they come across that one perfect song. Work is not a lot different than that. Whether you prefer building your own workflow or using a pre-made template, with Monday.com, you and the team can work in a way that's comfortable for everyone. Tap the banner to go to Monday.com and build your own amazing workflow, or find an awesome template. No judgment.
If your roof starts to leak or your floor's really squeaky, you live in a money pit. Money pit.
If your basement needs a pump or your place looks like a dump, you live in a money pit.
Money pit.
Pick up the telephone, fix up your home sweet home by calling 888 Money Pit.
Coast to coast and floorboards to shingles, this is the Money Pit Home Improvement Show. I'm Tom Kreitler.
And I'm Leslie Segretti.
What are you guys working on this beautiful spring weekend, and how can we help? You need some help planning a project or solving a problem? You got a decor dilemma, you got a repair challenge, or maybe you want to take on an outdoor living project because summer is almost here. And when it comes, we want to spend a lot of time out there enjoying our outdoor spaces. So if you've got questions, now's your chance. Reach out to us at 1-888-MONEYPIT because our to-do list happens to be empty right now. We're waiting for you guys to fill it up. The number here is 1-888-666-3974. That's 888-MONEYPIT. Or you can post your questions to moneypit.com/ask. Coming up on today's show, you know, a kitchen can feel like Grand Central Station, can it? When the food's being prepped, electronics being charged, car keys getting dropped, countertops bear the brunt of all of that wear and tear. We thought now might be a good time to talk about tips on the most durable and easiest to maintain countertops, and we'll do that in just a bit.
And if you have a second-story deck, you might feel like the space underneath is a no man's land. It's usually damp, muddy, and layered with moss or mildew. Well, with a little creativity and the addition of an underdeck drainage system, the area beneath the deck can be used for almost anything. We're going to explain how.
And is your driveway ready for a do-over? You know, asphalt always takes a beating from Mother Nature. We're going to share some tips on how you can restore your driveway no matter how worn it is.
But first, we are here to help you create your best home ever. So whether that's a quick fix or a big project, we can help you save time, money, and tackle all of your to-dos with confidence. I mean, come on, guys, we're already in May. You've got Memorial Day weekend coming up. You have guests coming over. You want your house to look good? Give us a call.
The number here is 1-888-MONEYPIT. That's 888-666-3974. Or just go to moneypit.com/ask. Let's get to it.
Pauline in Washington's on the line with a wood decking question. How can we help you?
3 years ago, I treated it and put a stain on it, and it's gone back to the same worn look that it had when I first started working on it. And so I wanted to find out what to do to make it presentable all year round where it doesn't go back to a worn state.
What kind of wood is the deck?
It's not treated wood, so it's just wood, and it is covered. It's a covered deck, so it doesn't get a lot of rain. The rain doesn't really hit it, but it gets a lot of footwork and dog prints and dust. And
what you're going to want to do is apply a solid color stain and prime it first. So the primer is going to be oil-based, and the stain can be water-based. But the primer is going to make sure it sticks really well. And then I would use solid color because it has more pigment in it. And if you do that, use a good quality product, you'll probably have a surface that will last you probably 5 to 7 years before you have to do it again.
Oh, okay, because I used a transparent stain the first time.
Yeah, well, that's why. You see, transparent stain has no pigment in it. So if it's got no pigment in it, you know, you're just looking at the natural color of the wood. Yeah. And unless it has a really good UV inhibitor, that's just going to wash out pretty quickly. So you have to use something with pigment. You know, you could also try semi-transparent if you don't want to go solid color. But you've got to have something with pigment in it if you want it to last and have a consistent, attractive finish, okay?
Okay, so after I put it on, is there something I can put over top of it so it wears well?
It's not designed for that. It's designed to be the wear layer. So you don't need to put anything on top of it, okay?
Wish me luck.
All right, good luck, Pauline. Thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEYPIT.
All right, heading up north to Canada, where Dave in Ontario needs help with a garage door. What can we do for you?
I've got the old wooden garage door, and over top of it's the wooden framework, and the paint was all bulging, so we kind of tapped at it. It looks like the whole thing's dry rotted. So I'm not sure if I'm opening a whole Pandora's box and I'm not going to be able to have to tear the whole garage down. but it looks like I've got to replace the header in it. It's a cement block garage, so I don't know how involved this is going to be.
So it's just a header over the garage door. Was there a leak above it?
The roof was done a year and a half ago, so it's not a detached garage. So if it was leaking, I'm not real sure whether it was long term.
But it's definitely not leaking now?
No, everything's dry in there now.
And is the roof rafters resting on that header?
Yes. It's a four-sided, so I guess they call it a cottage.
What you're probably going to have to do is you're probably going to have to build a temporary wall to hold up the roof rafters while you disassemble the header. And you do that right inside the garage door. You basically build kind of a fake wall right up to the underside of those rafters to support them between the garage floor and the underside of the rafters while you do the disassembly and replacement of the header. Then once it's all put back together, then you can disassemble that temporary wall, and then the weight will be transferred back onto the new header. So that's the process.
Would I be jacking that up, taking a little bit of pressure off of it?
I wouldn't jack it up, but just make it snug. It probably won't move at all.
Okay, so this is something I could probably handle myself, or should I be getting a contractor in?
Well, if you're pretty experienced, yes, but it's also the kind of thing that you might need to have a pro help you with if you've not done it every day, because you don't want to mess this up. If you get something wrong, then you could cause some structural problems that are going to be, pretty concerning.
Yep, very good. That gets me pointed in the right direction.
All right, good luck with that project. Thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEY-PIT.
Did you know that Americans take 20,000 breaths a day and spend an average of 90% of their time indoors?
That's right. And according to the EPA, the level of indoor air pollutants can be 2 to 5 times higher than outdoor air and occasionally more than 100 times higher. Plus, every spring we get socked with allergens too. Well, Air Doctor is an air purifier that filters out dangerous contaminants like pollen, pet dander, dust mites, and mold. Their Ultra HEPA filter has been independently tested to remove 99.99% of tested allergens, including bacteria and viruses.
That's impressive. Now, Air Doctor also comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't love it, just send it back for a refund minus the shipping.
And they're offering a special discount to Money Pit listeners. Just head to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code MONEYPIT, and you'll receive up to $300 off air purifiers. Exclusive to podcast customers, you'll also receive a free 3-year warranty on any unit, which is an additional $84 value. Lock this special offer in right now by going to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code MONEYPIT. That's airdoctorpro.com, promo code MONEYPIT.
Do you love learning about home improvement on our podcast? Well, we love bringing you all the latest tips and tricks.
And if you want to make us smile, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Just go to moneypit.com/review.
Ginny in Missouri has a question about a skylight. How can we help you today, Ginny?
We have turned our garage into a living room, and consequently we have windows only on the south side where the door was. We have a nice large living room, but it's been very dark on the north side. So I found a wonderful deal on a tubular skylight, and I bought it. But because it's our living room and we have our television in there and such, now I'm concerned about putting it in, because is it going to interfere with being able to watch the television in the daytime? And no one seems to have information about this.
Are you saying because of the fact that it'll be so bright over the TV, possibly that it would sort of wash it out? Is that what your concern is?
Right. It won't be directly over the television. It'll be in the middle of the north part. But we're just concerned because of reflections and things like that.
Yeah, but Tom, the sun tunnels generally, depending on the way they're installed, direct the light straight down, correct?
They have diffusers. So the lens part of it that's at the end, it's kind of more like having a ceiling light fixture when you're done. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. I've never heard of that as a complaint, Ginny.
Oh.
So I would tell you to do it. I think those are great. Those are great products. And by the way, for those folks that are not familiar with this, so what a sun tunnel is like as Ginny said, it's a tubular skylight. So imagine instead of having to cut a hole in your roof and then build a light shaft, you can cut like a round hole in your roof. You can drop this tube down through it, And basically it snakes down between the roof and the ceiling, kind of like, think of it as a dryer exhaust duct. It's like flexible like that, but it's wide. It's like 12 to 14 inches wide. And the inside of the tube is polished like a mirror. So it takes a lot of light and directs it down that tube to that light diffuser, which is at the ceiling level. So I think it's a great option, and I think it's a good use in this particular space.
Well, I really thank you, because it was very difficult to find information.
Good luck, Ginny. Thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEY-PIT.
Well, kitchen counters serve as the work surface for family life. It's where you prep your food, you eat your meals. You may even be paying bills or helping with homework in that same space. And that's why choosing a material for your countertops that can stand up is really important. So here are a few things to consider, starting off with tops made from natural stone.
Yeah, natural stone is probably one of the most popular options. The look of natural stone adds richness and depth to a space, and it makes it a great choice for kitchens and baths. Now, granite and quartz have become the gold standard lately, but they're both beautiful, and they can also be very costly. Now, a small bathroom can provide you the opportunity for that luxe look on a makeover with a budget.
Now, solid surface countertops are also a good option. They look great. They offer more design flexibility since they can be custom made to fit your needs. Now, I use solid surface, and I did need to custom make mine, Leslie, because in my old house, my kitchen corner was off by an inch on 8 feet. It was out of square. So
oh, geez.
That was even more than you can caulk, so we had to make them to fit that space. Composite material is available in many colors and textural blends, and solid surface countertops can also be part of a green kitchen or bath solution.
And for the DIYers out there, ceramic tile has the most size, color, shape, texture, and pattern options. And it's durable and stain resistant. It's easy to install and it's affordable. But that grout needs to be sealed to prevent staining. And then there's butcher block, which is a beautiful and natural option, but that's going to need a ton of care, especially to prevent absorption of any E. coli bacteria. So you got to take good care of it to stay safe.
Now, lastly, a solution I've used now a couple of times is a stone coating. So you can get stone coatings that are made by Daish, D-A-I-C-H, DaishCoatings.com, that look like granite or marble, and they can go over a wide variety of surfaces. So if you have a worn out solid surface material, or even if you have old types of Formica, it goes over that. You can even build a countertop from scratch and put it on top of that. And when you're done, I'm telling you, it looks just like the real stone, and it's super durable as well. So lots of options in durability when it comes to kitchen countertops. Pick the one that's going to work best for you and enjoy it.
Scott in Illinois is on the line with a driveway question. Tell us what you're working on.
We have a house that's 13 years old, and our driveway is finished in aggregate at the surface, which is a little rough. The problem is it's now starting to crumble, and I wonder what's the best alternative to try to repair that.
So when you say aggregate, is it like a stone surface?
Yes, it's a little rough, right.
Yeah, so it's hard to maintain. Is the driveway sloped? Is it pitched? Is that why it has a rough surface?
Yeah, it's only a mild slope. It's about 3 degrees.
Well, it's hard to repair a surface like that because it is so rough right now. Is this the kind of thing that you might think about replacing?
Yes.
Problem with driveway construction is that even though we all think driveways are as tough as roads, they are often not, and they're often very thin, and therefore they have short lifespans. And so if this is starting to crumble now and it's not that old, I think it's just going to continue to deteriorate, and you might be looking at a replacement rather than a repair.
Probably maybe better to do it in cement rather than put up aggregate.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a really tough surface. Just think about, since it's pitched, you want to make sure, and you're in Illinois, you want to make sure that you've got some surface on there that will give you some traction, so you don't want to make it too smooth.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Good luck, Scott.
Lucy in Kansas needs some help cleaning some lawn furniture. How can we help you?
We left our lawn furniture out of doors all winter long, and it is covered with a film of just grime accumulated from the weather. We have a combination. Some of it is plastic, some of it is metal furniture, and there's some fiberglass. What can we use on that?
All right, well, everything is going to kind of be a different approach. Now, for the fiberglass, you can really just use a basic cleanser with a a mild abrasive brush and you just want to brush on some cleanser, clean it up like soapy water, that should do the trick. You can even use dry erasers on them to see what it is on there. For the wood, you're going to want to also use like a soapy cleanser with some water. You want to gently use a pressure washer if you need to, but you also want to make sure that once that's all done, that depending on what the wood is it painted, is it stained, is it natural, you might have to reapply whatever that finish is.
All right, good luck with that project. Thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEY PIT.
All right, I love it when home improvement is a family affair. We've got Edwin and his kids on the line calling from New York. What's going on?
It's an old post and beam house built in 1875. I'm going through it. The wife wants an open concept, so took out the beam and put it in an LVL because it did have a wall underneath it.
Okay.
And so my question is on aesthetic. Structurally, I've always built and I'm good structurally, but I was wondering about what is a good height for the windows. I know that it can't be higher than 3 feet, and then I think I can slide under some of the egress under like a grandfather to keep them lower. But I don't know what's desirable, I guess.
Are you putting windows in that are larger than what you had originally, or are you creating new windows? Where are these going?
There are going to be new windows in the existing openings, and I'm going to just get them made from modern materials, but copy the ones were there. They were huge, beautiful windows as it was.
So you're using the existing opening. I would tend to say that you probably don't want to change that. That's definitely going to change the dynamic. It's hard for me to give you a certain number, a certain height off the floor because I haven't seen your house. And I think aesthetics definitely is going to play into this. I will say, I hear some young voices behind you that if you've got kids, you've got to be concerned about them falling out of windows and making sure you have appropriate openable
not
windows.
Very far.
Oh, okay. Well, still, you make sure you have window guards.
On the second floor, I'm moving them up for safety. First floor, I'm like, you can't really get hurt.
Yeah, and the windows, that are available today in the replacement window market are fantastic in terms of their efficiency. There's a lot of great brands out there that are doing this. I would just make sure that the windows you choose are Energy Star rated, and be mindful of the fact that on the window itself, there's going to be a sticker that's called the NFRC label. It stands for the National Fenestration Rating Council, and it will tell you the specifications of the glass. By looking at that sticker, you can compare it against other windows and know which window is really efficient compared to another. Because sometimes, all of the salesmanship of the window companies will make it hard to discern what's the best and most efficient window. But if you follow the stats on the NFRC label, you will be good to go.
Yeah, and I know even if you want to put big windows in, even if you get higher efficiency, there's still like a hole in the wall. The highest R value you can get out of them is like between a 7 and 10, and that's going triple pane, fiberglass, the whole nine.
Which may or may not make sense given your location. You are up in northern New York, so it does get pretty cold up there, so you might want to think about triple pane, but of course that adds to the cost.
Like doubles the price of a window.
Yep.
And I run an insulation company for a living, so I've done my research on the windows.
All right, so you know exactly what you're up against, and you know how to make sure that all the cavities around that window are properly sealed. Edwin, I hope that helps you out. Good luck with the project. It sounds exciting.
It is. Thank you.
Everyone should know that drinking water is important to staying hydrated and healthy. Having safe, clean water is the last thing you want to worry about, but unfortunately, according to extensive research by the Environmental Working Group, 3 out of 4 homes in America have harmful contaminants right in its tap water.
That's why we are thrilled to be working with AquaTrue. AquaTrue purifiers use a 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process, and their countertop purifiers work with no installation or plumbing. It removes 15 times more contaminants than ordinary pitcher filters and is specifically designed to combat chemicals like PFAS in your water supply. And they have water purifiers to fit every type of home, from installation-free countertop purifiers to higher capacity under-sink options. They even have a Wi-Fi connected purifier and mineral boost options.
And its proprietary purification technology is independently tested by IAPMO to NSF and ANSI standards to remove over 80 of the most harmful contaminants, including chlorine, fluoride, arsenic, PFAS known as forever chemicals, nitrate, and many more. I can truly taste the difference when I compare it with my old water filter. AquaTrue saves you money also. Just one set of filters from their classic purifier makes the equivalent of 4,500 bottles of water. That's less than 3 cents a bottle. Plus, you'll save the environment from tons of plastic waste.
AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and even makes a great gift. And today, Money Pit listeners can receive 20% off any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com. That's AQUATRU.com and enter code MONEYPIT at checkout. That's 20% off any AquaTrue water purifier when you go to aquatrue.com and use promo code MONEYPIT. Money Pit.
The Coca-Cola Company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and PepsiCo are bringing consumers more choices with less sugar than ever before. From sparkling, flavored, and bottled waters to zero-sugar sports drinks, teas, and sodas, consumers are taking advantage of these choices. In fact, nearly 60% of beverages sold contain zero sugar. To learn more, visit balanceus.org.
Marion, Massachusetts is on the line with a ridge vent question. How can we help you today?
You know, my house is 70 years old. In time, it needed to be reshingled. So the roofer explained now they use a ridge vent, and they open the center of the roof. And it was agreed, and I was happy with the shingles, but I do not like that ridge vent when I'm attic. It's like having an open window. Is there a way I can close that?
No, that is doing exactly what it's intended to do and exactly what it has to do, Mary. You know, we all grew up with homes that were grossly underventilated, but if your attic is ventilated perfectly, it should be the same temperature as the outside. It is not a conditioned space. It is unconditioned. So the heat is trapped at the floor level where you have insulation, but the ridge vent is designed to let air out of the attic where it's most likely to exit. So, for example, if your house is ventilated perfectly, the wind is going to blow over the roof. It's going to depressurize the ridge and pull air out of the attic from that space. It pulls out moisture in the wintertime. It pulls out heat in the summertime. And the other half of that are soffit vents at the overhang. These work together to properly ventilate a roof. So you've just never experienced a properly ventilated attic, but that is exactly what ridge vents are supposed to do, and I would not change them, because if you do, you're going to have a number of issues to crop up. Number one, you'll have moisture that will build up in the attic, and what that will do is make the insulation far less effective. If you add just 2% moisture to fiberglass insulation, it loses about a third of its resistance to heat loss. Secondly, in the summertime, you'll have excessive heat, which will make cooling the house that much more expensive. So I wouldn't do a thing.
Okay, I was curious. I'm not thrilled with it, but I guess I have to live with it.
Nope, get used to it. It's doing its job, Mary, okay?
Thank you.
Good luck with that project. Thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEY-PIT.
Well, if you've got a second-story deck, you might feel like that space underneath is no man's land. It's usually damp, it's muddy, and it has layers of moss and mildew growing in there. Well, with a little creativity and the addition of an underdeck drainage system, that area beneath a deck can be used for almost anything.
With us to talk about deck drainage systems and how they work is Dave Kyle. Dave is the CEO of IBP, a company that manufactures and markets some of the decking industry's most successful waterproofing innovations, including Trex Rain Escape. Dave Kyle, welcome to the Money Pit.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
You know, Dave, I spent many years as a home inspector, and invariably, whenever I saw those spaces, I think no man's land is a good description. People use it for storage and that sort of stuff, but it's so damp and wet, it's just hard to make it a pleasant hangout space. But if you've got a deck drainage system, you've got new opportunities for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We found that a lot of consumers, you can imagine sitting under a deck without a drainage system. Typically, there's cobwebs, water-stained joists. Doesn't look very nice and clean or finished. And with the Trex Rain Escape product, because you're putting the product in before the decking goes down, it waterproofs it underneath and allows you to finish off the underneath side with really whatever you want.
Now, that's a key difference between a lot of the decking drainage products that are out there, because many of them go in after the fact, and that makes it doubly difficult to get a waterproof installation, it would seem.
Yeah, we see it a ton of times where the people will try to undermount a drainage system to the underneath side. And one of the big differences that Trex Rain Escape has is when we put our system in, we're actually going to staple it to the top of the joist. And then if you can imagine water's passing down through the deck boards, before it ever comes in contact with the joist, the water's captured, and then it'll be drained away in a gutter system. So now you can put the system in, and you're assured that the actual joist structure will not come in contact with water. And with trying to mount one from the underneath side, the difficulty is that water will pass through and saturate that joist structure, and the water will run out just like the product should do. But one of the issues that you'll run into is now you've trapped moisture in between the decking and the drainage system, which would allow and create areas for rot and deterioration and shortening the life of the deck.
And truly, once you've redirected all of that water and that moisture, do you really have a truly dry area underneath that you can control the aesthetic and not just sort of succumb to the shade and the yuck that usually grows under there?
Yeah. In fact, I would say probably 90% of all the systems that are installed with the Trex Rain Escape product, consumers can really open it up to whatever they want to do. We have people that do outdoor kitchens, seating areas, bars, lounges. The consumers actually go out and put TVs outside now, so they can sit down there and really use it as living space.
Yeah, I mean, it truly is a roof when you're done, right? I mean, it keeps all that water and dirt and debris away from you, so you're not impacted when it starts to rain. I've even seen some photos of your product where folks are using ceilings under the deck. Well, what a concept, right? An outdoor deck, but beautiful.
I mean, my goodness. I mean, it becomes like a whole outdoor room. It's such a difference.
Yeah, and we encourage consumers to match the house so that it looks like the deck itself was built with the house, and you can put up a ceiling that matches your siding on the home and paint it the same color so it really blends in. It looks like part of the house instead of a poor addition.
We're talking about Trex Rain Escape. It's a system that's easy and efficient to install. I understand you need very few tools to do this, so it doesn't really add a lot of complication to the deck install, it would seem.
The tools required to install the system are a staple gun, utility knife, and a caulking gun. So it's very few SKUs, so there are very few parts to make the system work, and very easy. We've got some great instructions that show you how to put the system in so that it works, and then you have that living space below the deck.
Well, I think the bottom line here is it opens up a lot of possibilities and gets rid of some of the areas that have been unpleasant in the past designs where you just collect that moisture. And now you've got truly, as you say, Leslie, finished living space to do with whatever you wish. The product is called Trex Rain Escape. Their website is just that, TrexRainEscape.com. You can also call for more information by dialing 1-877-348-1385. That's 877-348-1385. Dave Kyle from Trex Rain Escape, thank you so much for stopping by the Money Pit.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Mary in Alaska's on the line and needs some help with a water supply. What's going on, Mary?
I have hot water heaters downstairs, and I'm considering going to a tankless.
What kind of fuel do you have in your house, Mary? Is it gas or electric?
Electric.
Okay. So you can't really go with an electric tankless water heater because the tankless water heater technology is really designed for gas water heaters. What you can do is switch to something called a heat pump water heater. Now, a heat pump is a high efficiency electric water heater, so it will save you some money. It's also typically will qualify for various different types of energy rebates, but it's going to be more expensive than your traditional just tank electric heater, because with electric water heater, it's running 24/7. It's pretty expensive. With a heat pump, it basically is kind of uses the refrigeration concept that you use with heat pump air conditioners to try to provide some of the warmth of the hot water. So it is less expensive to operate. So I think it really comes down to, how much you want to spend for the unit, how long you're going to be in your house, because it's not like you pack the thing up when you leave. You know what I mean? And if you want to keep the electric water heater, you can do so. What I would suggest you do is add a timer to it. There's a device, not too expensive. It's a heavy duty timer designed for a 240 volt appliance. And you basically would set the water heater to come on, like maybe around dinner time, stay on through evening showers and bathing, and then come on again in the morning for morning showers and then go off again, the water will still remain warm throughout the day. But instead of it running 24/7, maybe you only have it run 8 or 10 hours, and that will save you some money too. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. I was just trying to get rid of the tanks of water. I always,
I hear you.
I had one bust on me one time and flood my basement, and I don't want that to ever happen again. And I was really hoping I could get rid of all that water sitting down there in one place.
Well, I'll tell you what, chances are that if you have experienced a busted water tank that flooded, it's never going to happen again because it's just not that common. And you would have the most awful luck in the world for it to have happened to you twice. Okay? If you have Wi-Fi in your house, there's lots of smart home products that are out there, including some that are leak detectors that basically get mounted on the basement floor. And if you ever get a flood again, it'll at least alert you, and maybe you can send a neighbor over or somebody to check the house.
Yeah, I know. They have shut-off valves and all that kind of stuff now, too. But I just wanted to get rid of all of it.
Well,
but no electric tankless yet.
No, they have them, but they're really expensive. They don't give you any energy savings. Do you have propane that you use for anything?
No. Yeah. We heat with fuel oil.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that the best thing for you to do is to either put a timer on your standard water heater or get a heat pump water heater. Either way, I think that's probably the best option. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mary. Good luck with that project. Thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEY-PIT.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, asphalt driveways take a beating from Mother Nature. Sun, moisture, and certainly this past winter's freeze-thaw cycles. And all of that weather combines to cause cracks and then deteriorate that asphalt binder that really holds that driveway together. Now, if it seems your driveway is ready for a replacement, you've got some options.
Yeah. First of all, you need to understand what you're buying. Aside from driveway sealing, which is when a very thin coat of asphalt sealer is applied, there are really 3 ways to redo a driveway. First, a pro can add a layer to what you already have, or if the old driveway is in really bad shape, they can completely tear it out and start from scratch. But if the driveway is just worn but doesn't have big potholes or cracks, a top coat could be an option.
Yeah, for a driveway replacement, however, the most important things that you need to consider is preparation of the base. Now, once that old asphalt is removed, a new gravel base, typically 6 inches, is going to be installed, and then it's rolled like a big 3,000-pound roller is going to smooth that all out until it's almost as solid as a finished road. And if this part is done well, you can expect your new driveway to look like the day it was put down for many, many years.
Now, lastly, here's something that people don't really realize. It's important to choose the right type of asphalt. Some asphalt has more stone in it than others. Now, if you use an asphalt that's too sandy, the driveway will not be as strong, and you could have problems in as little as 2 years. If you see that your driveway is sagging under your car tires where you always park, that could be the problem. But if you put one down that has more aggregate, it will last at least 10 years or more. Sandy asphalt also might have a smoother appearance, but it just doesn't last. So always make sure you're mixing in gravel when you're choosing the type of driveway that you want to have.
All right, now we're heading to Texas. We're going to chat with David about a French door. What's going on?
Yes, I want to remove my sliding glass door on my patio. It's about 30 years old, and I want to put in a French door. And my concern is water leakage getting in, because sometimes my back patio will flood a little bit, and I want to make sure I seal the bottom of the door correctly and the top. And I wasn't sure how to do that.
When you see your patio floods, does it flood where it gets above the sill of the existing sliding glass door?
It does sometimes. We've got a cement slab out there that's about 4 inches down below the sill, but sometimes I have a deck built around that slab, so sometimes that if it rains real hard, the water will fill up in that on top of the slab there before it drains off, and sometimes it'll get up to the door.
All right, well, the problem is that no matter how you install that door, old or new, the connection between the door sill and the house wall is not designed to stop a flood of the such you describe. I mean, you're basically talking about, what would happen in a shower pan situation, right, where the water would come up and fill up the pan. It's not designed for that. So you could put all sorts of sealants under that door. It's still going to leak through eventually. You might be better off concentrating on that drainage problem while you're doing this work. And if you can't get to the slab, if you can't remove the slab and repitch it or put a new one that slopes away, the least that you should do is maybe cut out the section near the house and install a drain there. You can use a type of drain that basically will sit just below the grade. It will soak up the water and then pitch it so it drains away from there.
Okay.
There's a drain called Easy Drain that has the drain pipe and like a foam aggregate around it all in one, which makes it a lot easier to put in than a traditional French drain. But you got to control that water problem, and this is the time to do it, because no matter how you try to seal that new French door, that beautiful door, which is going to be expensive, against your floor or your slab, whatever it's sitting on, it's not going to hold back water that's flooded above the level of the door. It's just not designed for that. It's designed to keep rain out, if it's flashed properly, but not a flood.
Okay, great. That really helps. It eases my mind anyway.
All right. Well, good luck with that project. Thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEY-PIT.
Well, Anita in Illinois reached out to Team Money Pit and writes, I'm going to have to install a new central air conditioning system this year. How do I know what size to get for my 1,800 square foot single-story home?
So the simple answer is 3 tons. How do I know that? Because 600 square feet per ton is the standard norm for an air conditioning system. However, there's a lot of other factors that I did not include in that estimate, and that should be figured out by an HVAC tech before you settle on that size. For example, which way does the house face? How much glass do you have on the south and west sides of the home? How much insulation do you have on the house? All of those answers go into what's called a heat loss analysis, and that is what will tell you exactly what size the AC needs to be. And it's important not to guess. If you go too small, you're going to have not enough cooling power. People tend to always want to go too big, but if you go too big, here's what happens. The air conditioning system does not run long enough to dehumidify the house, and you get that cold, clammy kind of feeling. It kind of cycles on and off quickly. So not good, plus that wastes a lot of energy. So the answer is make sure you do a heat loss analysis, and if a contractor comes and doesn't want to do that, you're not talking to the right contractor.
All right, Danielle from New Jersey wrote in, I refinished my wood kitchen table years ago. Recently, I sanded and refinished it again, but put on about 4 coats of an oil-based polyurethane and allowed a day of drying in between each coat. Now it sticks if anything warm sits on it.
Oh, boy.
Coffee cups, plates, everything. How can I fix this?
Yeah, unfortunately, you need to go back to the beginning and sand off all of that finish, strip it all down, the original wood. Here's why. Because you didn't leave enough time for that urethane to dry, and it's never going to dry at this point. You have sealed in uncured polyurethane, and that's why it's all gummy and disgusting. So I'm sorry to have to tell you that, but you got to strip it all off and start from scratch. Even though the label says it'll dry in 2 or 3 hours or 4 hours, don't believe it.
Yeah.
It sometimes takes weeks for that urethane to fully cure.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate that you have to go all the way back. But the good news is now you're kind of a pro at it.
Well, 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle, are the key to a green lifestyle. Leslie has tips to help with one green table building project that delivers all 3 in today's edition of Leslie's Last Word. Leslie?
Yeah, this truly is about repurposing. And this really is a great trick of the trade to just turn unusual items that maybe you have around the house into functional and good-looking side tables. Those glazed garden stools? I feel like everybody's picked one of those up at like one of those discount stores at some point just because they're fun colors and they look good. And then you get them home and you're like, do I put this outside? Do I keep it inside? Well, whatever. They look great as a little side table. Or even if you've got some space in the bathroom, you can put one next to the toilet with like a candle or a little orchid or something. Just really fun and really pretty. It's just a great way to go ahead and use that as a little side table. You can also think about rain drums, vintage wire baskets, old suitcases. A stack of them are really fun as a side table. And even musical instruments work amazingly well because, you kind of stand it on end and then put a glass thing on top. There's ways to build the table and then have the instrument look like it's holding it all up. Send me pictures. I'll help you sort it out. But it's really a great way to get a functional side table, but also have something that's super unique and totally you. So don't be afraid to go a little wild and try something out with something you already have laying around. It's going to save you money, and you're going to be so glad you did.
This is the Money Pit Home Improvement Show. Coming up next time on the program, as we move closer to summer, water saving becomes more and more important. But rather than rely on your kids and family to use less water, new fixtures can actually do that water saving for you. It's a simple plumbing project. We'll tell you how to find faucets, toilets, showers, and sprinklers, and more that can do that job without wasting water on the very next edition of The Money Pit. I'm Tom Kreitler.
And I'm Leslie Segretti.
Remember, you can do it yourself.
But you don't have to do it alone.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.